What is it? What's the date?
Halloween, dude.
Yeah. So this is the start of your little rutcation. This was your first sit, right?
Well, I was in Wisconsin, or Wausau, for the weekend. Now Western Wisconsin. Didn't even get to spend the night yet.
I love it here.
Yeah, it sure is awesome.
But so I was like, if you're heading out, like we should hunt together.
Yeah.
But
we didn't know you were going to shoot a buck.
Right. And I was like, well, this is the property that I'm interested in, and see what you see on it, e-scouting, and just figure it out. And so when we compared maps today, getting ready for the first sit, we had like a lot of the same stuff, in interest. I had 2 scouting videos on the wild calling, and one of them breaks down the specific bedding area that you were hunting by, and shows the rubs in the area, what time of year it's going to be used. I didn't say a specific date, but I said this time of year. I actually think this area is more of a rut bed. There's so many rubs coming in here.
Yeah.
And I gave reasons why, and of course we talked about those red oaks finally getting browsed on.
Yep.
And in the thickest part of that area, they sweep so low to this surface because the red oak is on this drop. But it's such a steep drop that the bucks can bed and eat off of a red oak branch if they really want.
Yeah.
So we were walking out from the path, and we took our boots off to be real quiet. We walked in our socks, and we were real nice and quiet. Don't think we spooked anything. But once we got to the tree, Chica was setting up the 4th climbing stick, and we heard a big buck blow and just stomp off. It had to be a big buck, but we saw him run right off. Jacob saw him, and he must have saw Jacob, but I'm optimistic. Joe's little in the interview game, but we're hoping that some deer return. We've had plenty of times that blowing has occurred during the hunt, and it's been successful anyway. Expecting some travel down here, possibly coming out of the bedding there, but that big buck was bedded right there, and he only saw me, so we were quiet enough. It looks like this trail, Joe, has a lot of leaves that have been recently stirred up. Do you see? This trail is a little more disturbed. That's kind of where I'm thinking of coming from, or right out of here, which is right where that buck was bedding. Do you see how all those leaves are turned up there? Some common access roads.
The morning after I shot my buck, a hammer came in, and I remember sending you those pictures. I was like, dude, we're gonna get you on this buck. And it was a spot I hadn't sat all year, and that weekend after I had shot mine, the pressure just picked up like crazy, and deer shut off, and it was like really evident. And then the little trickle we had coming back in, we saw 2 does on that ridge, and we also, like I showed you this picture, we also saw a mature buck in another area in the morning, and we were debating like, hey, do we throw a sit in this area, or are we going to go back there? And then you started talking about what you think about those does you saw and where you think those bucks are going to get pushed to. So talk a little bit about what you saw in this spot.
Yeah, so
Deciding
we went back and forth best way of getting in there, and we had a west northwest wind, and it was perfect. It was blowing my scent up this big long ridge that I was coming down.
Yeah.
And just as I was about 2/3 the way down this ridge to this point where we had talked, there was a scrape that I wanted to kind of sit over. I noticed that there was a shelf, a military crest, on the side that I wasn't hunting, the side that I was trying to stick to, and wouldn't you know, but a doe and 2 young ones jump up and out of there, and I'm like, and they ran down this ridge, and I'm like, but I had to wait. I didn't get set up till a little after 4. Wow. It took me that long to get in there. I had only walked when the wind was blowing.
Yeah, and you left here at 1:45.
Yeah. So
I was telling you, it's like I don't have friends that, like, no matter what deer I showed them back there, they were like adamant that they weren't going to walk that far. I asked questions a lot of before the echo about like how the deer relate to secondary ridges. And then you saw that swirling effect that I've been talking about with when it cuts off the primary, all that swirling coming back, and it's almost like the wind kicks up when those thermals start to activate, because you don't realize it, but you're actually catching a downward thermal from that ridge,
and then there's a big river there with
right.
I mean, it's huge in there.
Yeah.
So you got that wide open space, that wind blowing up that ridge. I actually thought, you know, I played it like I would in Indiana, where as the wind dies down, the thermals will take over and your scent will drop down. But being on this point with that giant river next to it, I think it just starts causing a huge swirling effect, and I couldn't get any further on that point without really jacking things up.
Right.
So
no, you did the right thing. That's kind of why you had that downward thermal too. Is you were close enough to that primary ridge, and you were kind of towards the bottom of that secondary. Remember how and you sent me your pin, and I said, remember, you got to watch this inside turn right here, because the does will kind of bed on the edge.
Yep.
Well, you probably bumped them before that.
Yep,
but
I did.
You didn't bump the ones after it. You didn't bump the bucks that were bedding after it.
Early on, I think it was about 5 o'clock-ish, I had a small 8-pointer. He came behind me, my scent was blowing over the top of him, and he came up to that scrape about 50 yards away and just sat there and scent checked it. He never even got to that scrape. It's pretty cool. He actually turned around from that point then and then walked down the ridge right underneath me. A half hour before dark, I had a doe come barreling through, and she came off that ridge top and she ran down right underneath my stand. Like I could have dropped an arrow on her, and she hit my scent trail where I walked to that tree, and she did a 180. She ran out about 30 yards and she stopped and she looked around. But there again, my wind was blowing over the top of her. And I thought, oh man, that's a good sign. If she's by herself and she's come barreling like that, there's got to be something behind her. So she walked up and over the top of the point and down towards the river, and all of a sudden I heard the grunting, and I'm like, oh dude, here he comes Mr. Big, get all ready. I'm like, oh, dude, here he comes. Here comes Mr. Big. I get all ready. And it was Mr. Little.
Yeah.
And another little buck, and he was grunting and running and chasing after her. From past experience, usually there's more than one buck. I've seen 6, 7 of them behind a doe like that. And so I waited, and sure enough, 5, 6 minutes goes by, and I heard more crunching. He's going to be a 20-yard shot, so I'm ready. And he's walking 50 yards at a time, stopping for like, let's say, a minute, looking around, real cautious, like a mature buck would do.
Oh, yeah.
And he stopped behind this big oak, and I just needed him to step out one step. I had the camera pointed that way, and wouldn't you know, I felt a swirl on the back of my neck, and I'm like, oh no, I just knew it instantly. I just knew it. He turned. It got quiet. I didn't hear a crash. And I'm like, oh, that's not a good sign. So I end up just listening. And it was real quiet for about 5 minutes, 8 minutes or so, and then it sounded like he was walking. And I'm like, uh-oh, that's not a good sign. I'm gonna have to leave this guy overnight.
Did you hear him like walking a distance, or was it just
no? It's just in the same spot.
Okay.
So then I thought to myself, oh, and I heard it again, and I heard it again, like every few minutes. Then I heard a big twig or big branch snap, and it's all in the same spot, and I'm like, I bet you he's thrashing, trying to get up, and this is it, you know. So after about a half hour, 45 minutes, I didn't hear him anymore, so I walked over, looked at the arrow. It looks like a complete pass-through.
There you go.
And I thought, all right, well, it's 2.5 miles back. Thanks, Jake.
Yeah. That's why they're there, though.
Yeah. So I'm like, So I thought, all right, well, I'm going to go get help. By the time we get back, let's just hope he's dead.
The color of that blood. I know. There we go. Look at that. Some drying. Just a little bit of. Just stay right there.
There's no way he lived through that.
I can smell it.
There he is.
Got a little bloody
There he is, dude.
I thought I saw him. That's why I stepped up on that log.
There he is.
Let's go, dude. Let's go. Nice buck.
Not the one I thought he was, but
Hey, he's not the once in a billion, but he's a stud, dude. Look at that. Look at the character on that. Look at that brow tine, too. Let's go, dude. That's sweet. Congratulations.
thanks.
Man, that's sweet. Give me some.
All right.
I bet you I got a picture of that thing. Look at the brow tine, too. Look at that sticker on
2,
it.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
That's sweet, man. Let's see how that shot works. I don't even see the entry.
I know he was standing this way, so.
Oh, wait. That's an exit. Was he quartering away?
No, he was broadside.
All right, turn it back over once. You got this.
Yeah, we'll have to look
And then
at
if
it.
you go out this side, come look at this.
You know, once I see the rack and I just determine that I'm going to shoot him, I don't look back at him.
Oh, you shouldn't at all. Yeah.
I can't. It's just the way I go. That's the way I roll, and it's worked for me. But that being said, I just remember he was wide and had a chocolate rack.
It's just
that sticks in my head.
Get your blood pumping.
Yeah,
that's
so,
like everyone's like, what inches are you looking for? Like what kind of?
I don't care about inches.
Dude, if it gets my blood pumping, and sometimes they get me excited, and I just want to see them walk around, and I just enjoy the encounter. And it's more about, for me, like enjoying that the prediction I made was right.
Yep.
You know?
That is awesome. Sorry, I don't bring anyone to easy spots. They're gonna earn the deer.